this is Rich Lavens of Eurotherm by Watlow, and I had a question this morning on how to load a configuration file into a 3504. On the 3504, there are two ways to load a configuration file. First way is by using what we call the CPI clip or configuration cable. That's quick and easy if you have the cable. The alternate way to do that is if your controller is optioned out with Ethernet, you'll have a dual port on the back of the 3504, and you can do it over Ethernet. The quick way, though, is if you have that cable, you don't even need to power the instrument. So quite honestly, the first thing we're going to do is power down this instrument. And then on the side of the controller, right here, there is a configuration port, and we've got the CPI clip. We're going to plug that in. It's keyed, so you cannot put it in backwards. And now we'll go to the iTools software. Okay, we're back at our PC now. So the first thing I'm going to show you is a little bit of a close-up of this configuration cable. Drag that over from my other monitor here. So here's the configuration cable. You can see there is a USB connector that goes to your PC. You can't see them here, but there's two lights. There's a red and a green light. So as you're transmitting and receiving between the PC and the instrument, those will flicker on and off. And then here's the special connector. This cable is actually used on most of the current Eurotherm PID controllers. So when you purchase this, if you have other things in plant from Eurotherm, EPC 3004, 3204s, obviously the 3504 Nanodac, this cable works on most current Eurotherm PID controllers. So what we'll do here is close this. The other thing you're going to need is you're going to need to download the configuration software, which is called Eurotherm iTools. So we're going to go to our Eurotherm page, eurotherm.com. We're going to go to products, and under the temperature controllers, you'll see software. And we're going to want to click on iTools. You can read a little bit about iTools and some of the features it has, but in our case, we're going to go right to the Downloads tab. We are currently on iTools 9.87. That will change based on firmware revisions and updates and stuff, but you're going to want to download this first. And then after that's downloaded, also go ahead and download what we call an IDM update. We are currently on number 6, and again, this will update the iTools for changes in firmware to new instruments, upgrades, features, and stuff like that. So download iTools first, and then the IDM update second. We'll close this. And down here, I've already opened my iTools just to show you how to find that. So we're going to go to Apps. We're going to go to Eurotherm iTools folder. And we want to start out with iTools Engineering Studio. And then we are going to come up here. I've connected my configuration cable to the PC and the instrument. We're going to hit scan, and you have 4 choices. But in our case, we're going to connect via the CPI clip. So we're going to hit OK. And what will happen is the green light on that USB dongle will be continuously green, and you'll see the red light start to flicker as it's communicating with the controller. Up here, you can see we found the controller, but we have to wait for the PC and the instrument to synchronize before we can do anything. And that usually just takes a few moments here, so we'll just be patient. And here you can see we've gone out, we've synchronized, so that the little blue and green circle that showed synchronizing has now become a little instrument block. It shows the COM port you're on and the instrument ID. So there's 3504. Down here, if you look, it's continuing to look for other controllers on the network. We're going to come up here to this scan button and click that again. So it stops the scan and generally just speeds things up a little bit. So we can look at what's loaded into this controller right now. So if we go to graphical wiring and click, it will look at the configuration currently in the controller. So in my case, I went ahead and I cleared the memory. I did a factory reset, so to speak. So there's nothing loaded here. To load a clone file, we're going to come up to the load button up here, click load. And in my case, this is the file I want to load. So we're going to highlight that and we're going to hit open. You'll have a dialog box that opens up, kind of explaining what's going to happen. But the last line is, do you want to proceed? In our case, yes. And then over here, what we'll have is we'll have another dialog box that opens. The 3504 has a lot of settings, a lot of parameters, a lot of great features. But this is a control that takes a little bit longer to load over the CPI clip. So the CPI clip is basically serial communications, so it takes a little longer. If your instrument has Ethernet, we could also load, basically do everything I've just shown you over Ethernet, and that tends to be a bit faster. So I am going to stop the video for the time being while this loads. Go grab a cup of coffee, and as soon as it's loaded, I will be back. Okay, so we are back, and the 3504 has successfully loaded the clone file. You're going to get a dialog box here. There's going to be some warnings. A lot of it is just kind of information like, it's recommended you check your clone file. Changes in the clone file, can affect the process, so forth. So anyway, you'll see that I successfully wrote and copied a bunch of tags. If there are any errors, you would see those listed in here too. But in our case, everything loaded just fine. So I'm going to close that. And now we can come up here to the graphical wiring. And you can see now, previously there was nothing in the graphical wiring, and now you can see I have loaded the clone file. So that is really it. If you want to save a clone file, we can come up here to the save folder. And first thing you're going to do is it's going to say you can't, we call it clone, but so you cannot save a file unless you're in the configuration mode, which is this access button. So I'm going to click OK. I'm going to click the access mode. Again, you get a little dialog box. And you can see when I'm in the access mode, I get a yellow background with a black wrench in it. Now I can come over to save. And I can call that whatever I want. So in this case, we'll just pick the same one. I'll just put Rev1 on the end so I can tell it from the other one. And I'm going to save that. And again, it will save that to a file. Let this finish up here. So in short, that is how you load and save a configuration. And we have now saved it. And then up here, this is something people forget to do. So if you're in access mode, you've actually put the controller into configuration mode. And in configuration mode, the controller is basically in standby. So it's not going to control everything. It's simple if you just click it here. You will put the instrument back into operator mode or level 1. And that way you won't have to deal with it later. If you forget to do this and you get out to the field and you power up your instrument, what will happen is the unit will power up with an STBY, and it means you're in standby mode. So you can go through the front buttons on that and get out of it, but it's easier to do if you just remember to do it here. So anyway, we are All complete. If you have any questions, drop us an email or give us a call. Thank you so much. Bye.